Hello, everyone. My name is Gregory, and this is The View from Out Here. I have some history for you today, so come back in time with me for a minute. It's January 2007. Dick Cheney is President of the United States, and George Bush Jr. is the face of the administration. There's a march on Washington going on in opposition to the war in Iraq, and the administration is about to escalate the war. This essay is called A Fundamental Shift. Today, while watching the March on Washington, it occurs to me that there is a lot more at play here than just an unpopular and possibly illegal war in Iraq. Something a bit more fundamental is now in play. Over the last few weeks, we've heard both the president and the vice president say for the record that the Congress cannot stop them from escalating the war in Iraq. This defiant confidence is born of their success at two things that I can think of right off the top of my head. One, they are consummately adept at framing political questions about Iraq so that opponents of the war look like they're supporting terrorists. You've heard it this week with statements like, the terrorists are being emboldened by some people's objection to victory in Iraq. And if you're not with us, you're against us. Secondly, they have simply taken the power that they are not subject to the constitutional law because we are in a state of war, notwithstanding the fact that Congress has not declared either of the wars the U.S. is currently involved in. Two Republican White House administrations have evidently declared these wars just by saying it. They are literally daring anyone to stop them. In time of war, the president has expanded powers. Granted, that's how it's supposed to work. But the war on terrorism is different. It's like our war on drugs. It's an ongoing war and will conceivably never end. Does this mean that the power of the presidency has changed forever? I fear that the escalation of the war in Iraq is setting the stage for a coup d'etat of the United States government by the Republican Party. They have been getting away with so much for so long that I think the groundwork is now being laid for a cancellation of the presidential election of 2008 and the establishment of an executive takeover of the United States government. Statements like, we're going ahead with the surge regardless of any opposition to it, are evidence to me that the process has already begun. This is a piece of the puzzle that the Republican Party has been gradually creeping into existence since the Nixon administration. The unitary executive theory. Under the unitary executive theory, the balance of power between the three branches of government is altered to move the executive branch to the head of the government. I'll be watching events unfold over the next year and a half, and I'll make a prediction that I hope I'm wrong about. I'm preparing a nice sauce and chilling a bottle of wine for the possibility that I'll be eating these words. I predict that the U.S. will expand the war in Iraq and Afghanistan to include Iran and Lebanon, possibly even Israel-Palestine, to the point where there is no question that we are in a state of all-out military war against the Middle East in general and Islam in particular. The executive branch has already neutralized the judicial branch of the government by boldly violating the rule of constitutional and international law regarding the privacy rights of American citizens and its prisoners of war in Guantanamo Bay, while excusing such behavior with the Presidential War Powers Act. No one so far has had the audacity to seriously challenge that position. Defying the will of the legislature, the United Nations, and the American people, and going ahead with these plans for escalation is the second assault on our triune form of government. Never in my lifetime has it been more important for our elected representatives in Congress to step up to the plate and play hardball to match the White House's game. If they don't make decisive action to reestablish the balance of power between the branches of the government, despite the probability that the White House will send 20,000 well-meaning Americans to their death anyway, the takeover will be all but complete. At that point, we will have an executive form of government for however long the executive branch decides it's needed, possibly in perpetuity. We are facing a fundamental shift to the United States form of government right here, right now. If that doesn't scare the ever-loving daylights out of you, you're just not paying attention. As for me, I'm about to draw a hot bath, light some candles and incense, and wait diligently while with my wine and sauce, hoping against hope that I've got some words to eat. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget the books I wrote for you. You'll find them in the comments. Meanwhile, much love.